On April 26th, just outside of my home, actually standing on my roof in Kirkland Lake, I came across these two objects in the sky. One is supposed to be the moon. The other object that is interacting with the moon, I'm not quite sure what that is yet. But as you can see, there's some serious, there's something serious going on with the moon. You can see these little flecks of red, green, and blue, almost like little spaghetti strands being flung around. Later on, we'll talk a little bit more about those. But first of all, I'd like to talk a little about the Apollo 15 and 17 missions. The NASA astronauts had noticed that there was an unexplained horizon glow on the lunar surface just before sunrise. The sight led them to suspect that a dust cloud might be proclaiming miles above them, but no further evidence has ever been found to validate that idea. The explanation for it remains a mystery. Now, in the science magazine Nature, some researchers from the University of Colorado had confirmed that a big lopsided dust cloud does exist on the surface of the moon. Yet that's an unsolved mystery still, and they're not quite sure what is actually going on the moon. This dust cloud, however, they say, is likely the result of high-speed interplanetary particles colliding with the lunar surface, and then kicking up materials. According to all the researchers, they found that the density of the cloud even grows when meteors pass by. But when you think about it, guys, the moon has no atmosphere. That's why when the astronauts did go to the moon, we've seen that it had zero gravity. There's absolutely no gravity on the moon whatsoever, or the very little amount of gravity. And you need gravity in order to be able to hold things down. But you also need an atmosphere in order to be able to contain clouds of dust. Okay, which the moon doesn't have. So I'm doubting that that's what's going on. I think that we're being told one thing, but actually there's something else going on out there. We're going to talk a little bit about wind and how wind, the movement of air, transports energy from the Earth's surface and as sensible latent heat. The sensible heat is transferred by the process of conduction and convection. Convection transfers energy within a substance, and convection transfers energy through the vertical movement of the heated substance, whatever that substance might be. Now, latent heat is the transfer of energy by transforming the substance itself. Water has the ability to exist as a liquid, solid, or gas. The transformation from liquid to gas is called evaporation. The reverse process from gas to liquid is called condensation. From liquid to a solid is known as solidification, and from solid to liquid is called fusion. Now, water can also be transformed directly from solid to gas, or the reverse, through the process called deposition. We will see various processes in the formation of clouds, but dust on the moon? How, if you have no water on the moon and there's nothing there in order to be able to form clouds, how in the world are you able to form a dust cloud? That's my question. Now, this other object that's in the sky, when you get close to it, you can see that there are RGB factors, red, green, and blue factors, which are usually indicative of something that's composed or created by computer graphics. And you'll see as I zoom in in and out from this, just trying to figure out what they are actually, and trying to keep them both in frame, because that was one of my biggest my one of the things I tried to do the most was keep them both in frame so that you could see that they were interacting together. You can see there's almost like it's like a ball floating above the moon, but it looks like it's spinning. And you can actually see on the right side of the moon how there's flares that are flaring out from that. I've never seen anything like that before. And when you get really close to that dust cloud, you can almost see it churning and turning. I don't know whether they're trying to mask something on the moon or whether they're trying to hide something underneath that dust cloud, but there's definitely something crazy going on out there. And this ball of light that you're seeing right now, see, you can see up close that there's the RGB factors. You have the red, green, and blue. And not just that, you'll see as I zoom in, anywhere near any of these objects, you will see the spaghetti-like strands of this RGB floating around in the air everywhere. I don't know if that's radioactive material coming off of it, but it definitely does not look like particles of dust or any kind of debris that might have been kicked up by what's going on. It actually looks like a fallout almost of whatever kind of technology they might be using. And you'll see just if you've seen that, it had it actually has a stream of light below it that seems to be falling towards the earth. And here we go, we're going to zoom back into the moon here again, always trying to reference the ground, and you'll see around the moon as well. So right now, don't fear that that's just me trying to zoom in on the moon, and there happens to be a tree in front that I was unable to avoid. But what I wanted to show you was the pixelation, which is the in the color zones before it fades to black in and around the moon. You can actually see the color pixels dancing around. I've never seen anything like this before, and I've been looking up at the night sky for quite a while. Now, fusing point colors and color data from RGB cameras, images, excuse me, is the state of art in the field of robotics and photogrammetry. Yeah. The most common solution for the required extrinsic collaboration is to use specific collaboration patterns with detectable common feature points. Like example is a checkerboard. These correspondences are used to compute the extrinsic parameters by linear transformation and to align point clouds and RGB or hyperspectral image data with such a model. Multiple methods have been presented. A collaborated RGB camera on top of a laser scanner is used to create an RGB color point cloud, which is registered to a hyperspectral image using SIFT features and a and a piecewise linear transformation. However, this approach requires to mount an additional camera, which may not be possible on model robots due to space constraints. But what this looks like here is something being projected on top of the moon, like a hologram. It's either being projected on top of the moon, or the moon is being used as the silver plate which you would need in order to produce a hologram. Now there are many different types of holograms. One you'll see on your bank cards, for instance, or money. When you turn money, it reflects in a certain light, and the image changes. Well, I'm talking about the kind of hologram that you would see, like R2D2 created in Star Wars when Obi-Wan Kenobi came to talk to them. It's an actual holographic 3D image, which is much different than the standard 2D. Why they're using the moon to do this? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if that's really the moon or if it's a reflection off of the moon, and that's what they're trying to achieve. I'm not sure yet. There's definitely something going on here in Kirkland Lake. Anyway, I don't know if they can see this down the highway or not, if they're able to see it in New Liskeard and Timmins and other places as well, but I know it's definitely here. And it worries me because right now we are going through this COVID-19 flu scare, and everybody is social distancing, which means that a lot of people are not really paying attention to what is going on up in the night sky. And this would be the perfect time for them to manipulate and do anything if they were going to do it. But I'm going to keep on making videos, and hopefully we can come up with what is doing this, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and from where. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. But I thank you for watching and putting up with my commentary. I appreciate all the views, and we'll have more videos up very soon.